Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to 2022 first MPA Tech Talk session for today. So today our topic is talking about what they call this hybrid cloud. So welcome everyone. So different cloud hostings are available today. Okay, we have so many options such as AWS, Azure, Alibaba Cloud, Huawei Cloud, Google Cloud, and I might not cover all the options available. So can we even host on more than one cloud offerings? So Aaron, our speaker for today is from Matrix Connection, and today he will share with us how to host hybridly. Get your questions ready. Okay, even your technical questions can be addressed as he has been a CIO previously and is an IT system integrator. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat box and we shall attend to your questions at the end of the session. Yeah. So without further ado, I shall pass the stage to Aaron. Aaron, the stage is yours.
Let me share my screen, then we can start. Thanks for the introduction, Wong. I think, yeah, let me start the session now. I saw, there's a number of people here, but I think maybe people will still join, but let's start that. I try to make it a bit informative and sharing and then I bring some basics in. I believe some of the people already know some basic, but I think just bring it up to do some recap. If you haven't joined the previous session, the preview, so there's some material there, then I will expand from there. So I think without further ado, can you guys see my screen now? Can you guys hear?
Yes, we can.
Okay, let's start.
Yes, we can.
So before you do, just mute yourself. I think if you have any question, I have prepared this Slido. I put it here for maybe 30 seconds. But if you need it later, please maybe Wong can copy paste this link in case. You can put your question there. We will cover this review Q&A by end of the session. So, and in case anything you still want to raise your hand, just let me know. Yeah, because sometimes for that section. So, and let me go into that. I think this is about myself. Like Wong have been introduced me. I've been in the business, or even from engineer level until today for almost past 20 years. So, especially for the past 5 years, I've been advocating, selling the cloud solution, specifically Google Cloud, as we in Matrix as a premier partner. So we help many businesses and organizations do their so-called DX or digital transformation, right? So I think today agenda, I think there's a lot of topic there, but no worry, this is a lot of subheading, but I think I just want to section it out so at least you can come back to this, use it like your material if you need it. The first 5 section actually is cloud agnostic. That means any cloud can use that. I think it's good reference. It's basically like the cloud computing 101 or hybrid computing 101. The rest of the last 3 is more matrix related, the 6, 7, 8. So I hope that you learn something from the session. If you have anything, please ask a question or put it in Slido, right? So let me start with how do we get there today or get here today? Maybe a lot of us didn't actually realize technology have changed so much. I've been in the tech industry since I'm following tech or geek since I'm at least 12 years old. So I think there's a time that I have my first cassette, player with Walkman. There's a time that I listen to music. But I think if you look at innovation, this goes back almost 100 years back. So the first telephone about 75 years ago, and there's a transformation from industrial era to tech era today. And I think we even talk about today as 2022, they talk about web, not 2.0, but 3.0. So I think time has gone so far, and the innovation has accelerated. You can see the years to take to innovate for the next big thing. And everyone talk about metaverse, all that, right? It's like almost like from 10, 20 over years over, and then now it's talk about months, or even now talk about weeks. So I think this what we want to say here is the rule of the game have changed so fast that a lot of us can't cope up. Even in tech world, we actually every day learning it and have to continue learn and what is coming next, right? So I think that's what the transformation about. Similarly, in businesses, I think a lot of people talk about digital transformation, and that's happening since the 90s, 2000, and especially the last decades or since 2000, 20 years. We have seen the smartphone, the mobile iPad devices, and all this cloud computing stuff coming. So I think the question is what is next, right? So a lot of people you read follow the blogs or even article, everyone talk about crypto technology, talk about blockchain, all that. So there's part of it, whether you like it or not, it comes. So, but again, many businesses still start at the what we call the level of I'm not innovating, and some of these businesses actually you can see that this is all some of our favorite brand. To be frank, my favorite brand here is actually Polaroid. Actually, they die off, and that's I'm a photo enthusiast. So I used to do those the film age. Now it's basically the whole camera industry being disrupted by mobile devices, and everyone now have a very sophisticated camera on your palm of your hand, which is through the smartphone. So I think many businesses realize we need to change, but often it's sometimes too late to change. And some of the big company we see today no longer here, and especially those in the 90s, born in 90s, they don't even know some of this brand, maybe, right? Or 2000, a million people, like my kids, right? So I think transformation start with real change. And I think a lot of people say change is about technology. Actually, it's not true. The change have to be not in the technology part, but also in the business. You actually have to invest in your people and get them to embrace the change through the adoption of some new digital tools, like whether cloud computing, whether IoT, even blockchain, or even we talk about how to embrace that. I think that's a question a lot of people. I know I need to do it today, but how to do it? So it starts with the real change. Let's talk about that. And just some recap back this slide. I actually show this. I started this very aggressive cloud computing business, I say, the past 5 years. This is when I first I think second year I entered. This is a report come from Gartner in 2017, and you can see that the report. When this report written, it says that by 2021, more than half of global enterprises are predicted to have the all-in cloud strategy. So actually, to be frank, this is very true today, especially COVID-19 or even the pandemic have accelerated. Every enterprises have to change the way they do business today. It doesn't matter whether you have a healthcare, or manufacturing or retail. I think every industry, big and small, are going through this, and then they will have the first cloud strategy, which is a very different conversation that we carry through every entrepreneur or even the business executive when we meet them. Yeah. So I think again, what is hybrid computing? A lot of people ask hybrid. I think just to recap, hybrid have gone so many ways. Hybrid have gone from, I think the first one we know is hybrid car. Everyone know the first produced car is actually hybrid car available in Malaysia. And actually one of the top seller, but definitely today you can see hundred of brands all have its own hybrid car, and even today they call the EV car, which is go full electric as well. And definitely hybrid the world not going for hybrid car only, automobile, but during the COVID, actually even the hybrid school, right? So like Matrix, we actually behind the country, supporting Ministry of Education actually to do the hybrid school model during the last 2 years. And today we are still supporting them using Google for Education. Yeah. And I think hybrid work. So hybrid work, I think this is everyone are doing today. Like even we're using Zoom, we're using Microsoft 365, we're using Google Meet, etc. Or WebEx, you call it. So I think hybrid work is like, I think it was here to stay. People will, later I have some fun fact to share with you, or fast fact to share with you, which is some survey just done end of last year. I think the survey is talk about how the hybrid work going to last, and why it's going to last, and how it's going to be impact all businesses in the coming years, right? And then how do you acquire talent using the hybrid if you don't enable hybrid work, right? And the last one is actually hybrid cloud like today. So I think hybrid cloud is something I'm going to talk about today in my session. I mean, in the coming slide, so you can ask me if you have any question. So just again, if you don't know what is hybrid cloud model is about, it's basically a combination of on-prem with public cloud, like you combine all this, you're using Google Cloud, AWS, Azure, Ali Cloud, etc. And more importantly is every single cloud later I'm going to cover have its own specific value proposition why you're using that, and use case basically to tailor from your operation perspective, security, compliance, right? So I think there's no one solution for all. In fact, there's thousands of different cloud hybrid, on-prem cloud hybrid solution or architecture out there. And I think you just need to choose the right one, or we as a matrix, we actually help you to advise you which one we do Google Cloud, which one you should stay in Google Cloud, which one you should stay in Azure, which one should stay in AWS, etc., right? So I think let's discuss what is one of the most common use case next. So some of the most common use case across, it doesn't which cloud, you basically, you will come from cost perspective. This is the top one when people move to the cloud, when in fact the cloud computing public cloud came out. And then the next thing is you want to get more data out from that. I think most startup here, I believe you all are kind of startup in PropTech startup here, is you build new apps. Typically, you actually, most of it, the first place you go is you go cloud native. You're going cloud, you're no longer buying server like traditional enterprises, right? But I mean, that's a fact that will be continuing to be the case for the next, I think the next, even next decade, next era, the next 50 years, right? And basically, for more big enterprises, typically cloud or hybrid cloud is the place for them to do DR backup today to support their BCP plan. This is very true. We help a number of banks and larger enterprise in Malaysia or organization to do this during the COVID-19 period, which is the last 2 years. And finally, I think digital transformation, right? So I thought about people, process, culture, and how does it serve to do that? I think so. Any question before I move on? Are you guys following? Or if not, give me. I can proceed. Yeah, we go to the next one. Yeah. Is it okay? Any question? No, right? Are you guys following me?
Yes, so far so
Okay.
good, Aaron.
In case I talk to I do, because I cannot see some. Okay, so next let's talk about DX. I think just to redefine what DX is, digital transformation and IR 4.0. So some good fact sheets here is this is more for the traditional business. If you're doing old things in new place, it's not transformation. So just some cool facts. So it's true, and there's a CIO from a media company. This is a report from IDC as well. In saying that 90% of all application on their own, the corporate enterprise actually cannot just live and shift to that. They are not transformation. This is basically addressing, not addressing the real problem. So I think the next question is, and how do you going to do it, which is I'm going to cover in the later slide, right? And again, this is some slide to show the era of computing has come. So I think now we're at the juncture of, you can see is at between the cloud mobile data and intelligence right now. In fact, everyone talk about AI, IoT, blockchain, right? So I think even the new term came in, metaverse, the NFT, all that kind of stuff actually is part of the blockchain and crypto. So, but again, all that is pretty right on this IoT or distributed network as well. And behind the scene, definitely there's some back-end supporting that basically to do all this management. So there will be a hybrid of centralized computing, which is cloud computing, and the distributed network like IoT itself, right? So some quick fact, just or the fast fact on it is about IR 4.0. So this is a very cool one. This is really latest from IM Reform in India. They basically recently do a study saying that technology, especially the last 2 years, they become a key enabler of growth across all sectors. Very unique. All sectors, that means it doesn't matter you come from IT, you come from manufacturing, you come from healthcare, every single sector, and that have actually accelerated the whole IR 4.0 for many, especially the logistic manufacturing sector. Okay, and some of the just this one I show it in the last preview. So some technology, I think you can see all this is still what you see every day, and some of it we're using it, some of it still not mainstream like VR, AR. I think, but what the Microsoft, Facebook are betting on the metaverse, this will be the mainstream thing they want to do, right? But I think all this will here to stay to enable the digital transformation. All right, another fast fact. This one also very interesting. This comes from KPMG India. This is more for business about SMB, because maybe some of you are there, or you serve your customer in that sector, in the property, in various real estate sector. So very interesting is saying that digital engaged small medium business in India actually generate almost twice the revenue of the offline. Those haven't transformed. So I think this is also telling us that we should be embracing that. If you haven't do so, or your customer haven't, I think this is a play you can actually share with them. Again, this is a report from KPMG India. This is quite latest. I think December last year I get this one. Yeah, right. I will give you some of this, and I think let's go into the next topic is talk about transformation cloud era. So transformation have gone so way. So why we say that? So I think this is the one. So over the past year, as I mentioned, pandemic have accelerated the new norm for many business, right? So we have facilitated, the COVID have facilitated the focus, especially on cloud technology, whether you like it or not, and many other technology that's surrounding the cloud or big data. And especially those who work right now, whether in office, at home, I think this COVID actually have lead to a lot of innovation that haven't been thought of, and it have today, like what we see today. We live with delivery. We can sit at home, have all the delivery come to us, and you can see every single F&B retail are actually doing that. So whether we like it or not, they have to. Many of these businesses have to survive. They eventually need to embrace digital technology through mobile apps, through the cloud computing, to big data to help them to drive their business and keep them afloat, or even grow their business to the next level. So I think one of the key catalysts of what I say is finally is the recovery. So we talk about recovery. A lot of us we here also want to know how I can use cloud to help me to recover. So definitely many recognize as actually end of last year, many report came out, whether board members or business executives across the world in their various organizations recognize that COVID definitely will serve as a catalyst for transformation in a fast forward manner, right? Okay, so I think just to share some of this, just going through the era of that. So how we are come to what we say, cloud transformation era. So before that, actually there's a two era before, which is about 20 years ago, when the VM came in. We call it VM, virtual machine, which is virtualized. Many startups actually use this that time, especially now you see all the big unicorn. Actually, they actually forgo to buy server, and then they already started. So they are called the cloud native company. I believe the startup today in PropTech the same. You actually go cloud native, basically rely on the cloud today. In fact, the cloud become your first. So this is called the first cloud VM cloud era. And I think this one accelerated and really debuted by AWS, right? Then infrastructure as cloud era is when they, this like AWS, Microsoft, or even Google want big enterprises to move to the cloud, and they actually have the kind of aim to move them to the cloud by moving their, important data server, and then help them to enable cost saving and speed up development time and that. So this is an era that other than the startup, then the bandwagon being hopped by the enterprise and the corporate company, and that's what we call the era number 2, which is the last 10 years. Actually, this is very true. In the 2010 to, let's say, 2020, right? And especially before COVID hit, then actually the last 2 years, or even now, this is what we call a transformation cloud era. A lot of business already know that they have to move to the cloud. They have to embrace hybrid cloud, multi-cloud. So they no longer look into cloud, or hybrid cloud as the way to just for convenience or cost saving, but they are looking a way to drive, like say, the complete transformation of their entire business from people, process, how to impact the change of that, and then create new job, new skill for the staff. So I think that part of it, we in the industry of tech and also in the cloud, especially ourselves, we actually ask question: how can we help these businesses or customers or organization to support their group, the acceleration to grow in this particular transformation cloud era, right? So I think the key decision here is not to basically to be able to enable not only the technology element of transformation, but also the people and the process within the organization to transform as well. Okay. So and more interesting, I think let's do some of the questions. This is also come from the insight from various cloud, and these are key 4 questions typically customer ask: why, and how. And the first question here is, how do we get smarter and better in understanding and using our data in our industry? So I think a lot of people say that today I have so much data. If you're already running on your app, I think even whichever app today you're developing here, you definitely at the end result you have a lot of data. But how do you better understand that? How do you use that data in your specific industry? So like can you embrace the cloud to help you to do this? Okay, so later I have an answer to this, just to go through the question first. And the question number 2 is, do we have the industry leading technology infrastructure to support our growth aspiration while maintaining the freedom to adapt? So this is a thing that a lot of now a lot of cloud provider, and many of them have different offering, and in fact some of the cloud provider here, I mean, if you are stuck inside there because you basically they are proprietary to their platform. But in many businesses, you want to adopt open cloud, multi-cloud. Actually, you want to look into the cloud which give you the openness and easy to migrate and easy to move between the cloud, because that is the flexibility that you want and the choice you want to make as the cloud maturity is there when you use more, right? So this is the second question. The third question is, I think this is also to do with hybrid work. That's what I'm saying. So are we creating the best hybrid workplace while enable people to connect better? So this is something to do with transformation of your workplace. You connect. How do you connect with your colleague right now? How do you work with them? How do you work with your customers, your partners? And definitely, what kind of tool enable you to do it? And that today, so many tools out there, right? So other than Google, we are doing, actually there's Microsoft, Zoom, and many others, and specific to specific, work tasks as well, like Salesforce, you name it, like the kaki tangan in Malaysia also doing the HR enable. So all this is enabling the hybrid workplace. That means it blur the line between the physical workplace and that, and yet be able to connect and let you work with your colleague or customer or partners. Yeah. So, and the last question is typically, how do we know our data are safe or users are secure? And how do you make sure that they are protected now and also in the future, right? So this is a 4 key question, and typically all these cloud provider need to at least embrace some of this. And definitely they have some of that, but some are better in other places. But I'm not here to compare them. I'm here to just let you know what is the area they look at, right? So I think this is some of the 4 pillars to answer to that. 4, smarter, which is just now the word, how do you use your data? We call data cloud. You want to have freedom, we call it the open cloud. And then you want to have the cloud be able to connect the people, which is what we call the people cloud. And this is analogy. And then the last one is security, the cloud you can trust, that you be not being attacked by, because you put your data there, your customer data, all that. I think this is the most crucial part, especially the last 2 years, there's so many cyber attacks, and more people hop, or more businesses hop to the cloud, and then it become the top priority in terms you want to have a cloud that protect your data and at all time, right? So that's a key one. Okay, so so data cloud, so basically this is the answer to that. So very quick one. So typically how the feature, when you look into the cloud, it doesn't matter which brand you are. So you are looking at various elements, the automated intelligence that give you that resiliency, and even you don't need the management, which is we call serverless feature. The second type of it is element you need to have is, do they have a unified smart data analytic solution to help you, democratize your data, which is, a lot of people how to understand your data better, your insight. And the third one is, not only, we don't stop there. The type of cloud basically you are looking at is need to have an AI or machine learning solution that can help you to, really better understand your data outcome, right? So I think there's the first question, answer to the first question. The second of it is, how the industry leading, do we have the industry leading technologies to support growth aspiration and the freedom to adapt, right? So I think definitely here we talk about the open cloud. You see the keyword here. So open cloud is basically they embrace open technology, can embrace innovation, throughout the internet, and yet give you flexibility to adopt. So that's why today you see a lot of people moving from, the traditional .NET platform or Microsoft.NET, and then they now program in Node.js, Python, and it's all the modern language. And then database, they're moving out from Oracle to, to basically, MongoDB, or especially tech, what we call the tech industry or startup typically don't even bother to say, I want to go for a paid proprietary databases. So yeah, that's a key. So open source is about that. The second of that is you have a choice to build one time on one particular cloud. For example, let's say you build on AWS, you can, when you want to port, move this same what we call this application that you built one time, you can move to Google Cloud, can move to Azure easily by using open source technology. And then the last one is you have the freedom of choice to choose, what kind of solution offered by these various cloud players. So I think the cloud provider or the cloud thing, when you assess your own, basically what cloud you could go, this is some of the key elements that you should consider. Okay, so and the last one, and the third one actually is about people cloud. So I think there's the hybrid cloud. How does it the cloud enable you? So typically this associate with the SaaS solution, using whether it's a Microsoft 365 to Google Workspace to Salesforce or Workday, all those that kind of stuff. So does it help you to transform your work environment, and more importantly, to help them to communicate, collaborate better, and basically connect, not only that, be able to connect their customer. Actually, very true during the last 2 years, many businesses be impacted. They cannot see their customer physically, then how do they connect? So I think we have been used to do Zoom meeting like this. Even Zoom is enabling that kind of what we call the people cloud environment to do connection. Yeah. So I think today we have been, I think billions of people across the world have been, working and kind of communicate through the various platforms you have every day, using this various means, especially session like this, also be enabled because of the technology like this, right? And the last one, I think, last and not least, is the security. I want to say the security and protection is a key one. So the cloud need to be very secure. If you choose the cloud, some of the cloud are definitely have better secure platform compared to others. And the second one would be zero trust. That means trust no one. And each time you need to use the cloud, they need to authenticate the user or the application, you always have trust no one and always need to validate before it approve you to use. And definitely the third one is be able to detect, the ransomware, the phishing at, detection and respond at scale. I mean, at scale in a way that means it's so massive, right? In the cloud, you can do the attack. For example, like Google being attacked, just as we speak, just to share the numbers, every second got at least a million of attack every second to the Google Cloud, and all other cloud platforms have the same kind of things also. But how do you address that, for example, right? Okay, so everyone follow me so far before I go to the next chapter. Yeah, let me make a pause, right? Does the info provided relevant, or I should proceed and we will do the questioning later? Let me know.
So far, so good.
Right.
Thank you.
So I think the first few part is very educational. I just want to highlight that I think some of the info I believe you all should have known, but I just kind of compile that together because this is what many customers or even those haven't embraced the cloud have come to us and asked for about this. So let's do the next part is to the type of cloud and which to choose from. And definitely this is not for, one for all solution and all for one solution. So, and many criteria there. So I think let's do this as well. Typically this is what we call cloud computing 101. So I think the first part of it is the private cloud. Private cloud is definitely the old enterprises all have everything fall behind the wall of basically the technologies, the server, the data, the network switch behind a company wall, a physical wall, or they put it in a local data center nearby them. Basically, it's called private cloud, right? So which typically, which you own it, right? You own the physical hardware. The second type basically is a public cloud. Again, I think this is what we have been talking all this since just now until now. And this is all the host of services that you don't own the hardware, so you don't own the software, you actually rent from them. So it's basically you rent from Amazon, the AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google, Ali Cloud, Huawei Cloud, as you say. And definitely the SaaS solution, typically like Google Workspace, Office 365, Zoom, you name it, all the thing also is considered hosted on, even Salesforce are hosted on public cloud, on one of these clouds, if you're using one of them right now, right? And then hybrid cloud, basically, this is an illustration which I mentioned in the beginning, the combination of you use private, if you have on-prem, you have on the public cloud and on private cloud. When you combine them or integrate them, that's what we call hybrid cloud. So I think mid-sized company, I would say that will have this architecture because a traditional corporation typically, or your customer is come from traditional corporation, they will typically won't move everything to the cloud. They will have a very hybrid. They will keep some here. They'll move some of the data or some of the new modern application, mobile app run here. Maybe their ERP system, their manufacturing data will still sit here, but they will do a backup here. They will embrace the technology to do like data analytics, all that kind. So when you have this kind of usage, basically you are start embracing the hybrid cloud. And that's where we help many business to do that today in Malaysia. Yeah, and across various ASEAN country customer as well. And then multi-cloud is basically you embrace basically the private and public cloud. That means not only one cloud, you use Azure, AWS, Google, and this is even more true. For example, big banks or today some banks, I cannot name what, some a government are using. You could use Microsoft for their Microsoft Office. They could use AWS for the server. They use Google for data analytic, right? And then they have basically store all the private information of the PII, personal identity information on private cloud. They won't store it on the cloud as well, on the public cloud, right? So all this kind of topology, as it's called, multi-hybrid cloud model, right? All right. And this is just a recap. You don't know what is just go into the cloud, what kind of services you can get in any of the cloud provider. So it starts from infra as a service to platform as a service or software as a service. So just to make it very, very easy to understand, software service basically is everyone using Zoom, using Google Workspace, using Microsoft 365, you are actually here. You have nothing. You just subscribe to the service, the provider, whether Google, Microsoft, Zoom company are running the app. So you just need to use the app. You have nothing to manage here. Totally no ops. And then let's come to the other end of it. Infra as a service is typically those customer that running on-prem many years, and then they move to the cloud doing hybrid. And typically their application is their own application, and they basically need to still manage their own CPU memory disk. So if we need this kind of requirement, this is step number one to modernize it, which the customer still have to manage some of the component here, which is still have some ops here. And in the middle actually is what we call the hybrid. Meaning you buy, for example, this is where many app company or many startup are embracing database running on the cloud. And normally when you say that I don't have my IT ops people, I don't want to manage my server, how many CPU RAM, but I still yet to manage my own database, for example. So that is where you normally go for the PaaS model platform. So it gives you the application level, you manage it, but the infrastructure level, the cloud provider will manage it. So this is what we call a fully managed model, right? Okay. So, and who they are, I think all the three brands here, we have three brands here. Typically, these are top three. I need definitely there's more. These are the top three in globally right now. AWS start since e-commerce. Who are those providers? And definitely this is Microsoft. Actually, it's Microsoft Azure logo. They are coming from enterprise world. We are running most of our Windows machine today, and also the Microsoft server power the backend. And definitely Google come from a search engine, but eventually I think everyone are using that and powering the mobile apps today. So all the mobile apps today, actually, if you saw it, I think at least every one, what we call every one user will have at least three to four or even more than Google application on your Android phone or iPhone that you're using every day, right? So, and which are the factors typically you want to choose the cloud from? And you can see there's many. I just come up. I'm not going through every single one. And when you are considering which cloud to go to choose from, make sure map your business need from scalability, continuity, security, cost, and how agile it is, and how you want to quickly recover or even do a quick setup. I think some of these factors will determine your use case. All right. So and definitely if you don't know how, yeah. So basically, Matrix is actually one of the provider or consultant to help you to choose which one from the cloud and what they can do to do what you want to achieve for your business objective, right? And some, I think, good point of the three cloud provider, what are they good at? So AWS, many people, because they are the first debut in the market, they have a very mature set of services, but some of them are pretty locked to their environment, like their data. And Microsoft is very easy to adapt because many of you already using Microsoft and to integrate. So typically, there's value propositions for Microsoft. And I think even we have AirAsia, like our customers, they're embracing all the three cloud. And then I think at the end of the day, they say that which cloud I should use. I think they will use all the three, but it depends on what they want to run. So the last one, typically they choose Google Cloud because of the innovation and the flexibility and speed. So and then more important is the pricing part also. So I think it depends on which one. We didn't say which is better than the other. Today, this one is quite a commodity, but it depends on your needs. But definitely, each of these provider will have its own strength when it comes to certain specific workload solution that if you look for. Yeah. And I think this is just a chart to help you show how can you, when you do your cloud adoption, this is like a journey you need to go through to do your mapping. So this is what we as a consultant actually walk through customers we call the 4-step from continuous learning. What for example, we try to understand what you need for your business. Let's say for now, the short term now, and then what is the long term in the you need in the future. So do you need to develop in-house skill to do that? And then eventually once you have the objective, will lead you to the decision. Should you use which particular cloud to achieve what you want to achieve, right? And more importantly, when you do that, once you, assuming you're already kind of starting to use a cloud, you should also start a question: how can I do this repeatedly? I mean, I code one time, I can repeatedly go into repeat to scale it very easily, rather than each time I have changed or upgrade of my software or application, then I need to go and rerun the code again. I need to go and reconsider how to architect correctly. All right. And the last one, definitely you cannot compromise, is basically the security. So security always is the top. So when you do all this, bear in mind, security is always the key one. And I think now it's more true than never before, because I mean, as we speak right now, I told you just now, right? Every second right now, there's a million hit to Google. So I mean, I believe all the cloud providers have the similar issue also today. So how do you protect that as well? To learn to make sure that you have best practice put in place. Okay. So, and this is, I'm not walking through this, just to show you which part are you right now, and then each particular maturity scale you are right now. Are you at the strategy level? Are you transformation level right now? And you can adopt some of these, the 4 steps that you want to do to make it as part of your cloud strategy. Yeah. Okay, so is there challenges to cloud transformation, especially? The answer is yes. You actually have quite a number of them. Always security is the top one on the right, so I highlight that. Many of you, maybe even you are maybe a seasoned entrepreneur, you might not know how to do the tech part. So you might not have the right people. So either 2 things: you hire a consultant like us to do it, or you hire someone have the skill to join you to do it as your internal. So this is one of the things. And then definitely change our culture, because when you're going through transformation, it means change, right? So a lot of change resistant, especially if you have a pre-existing staff that reluctant to change. And when you want to transform process, and then people mindset have to change. And then definitely when a bigger organization, they have silo. Their priority is just want to do their own department level, the division level, not the company level. So typically, cross transformation had come from the top-down decision. Yeah. Okay. So I think that is it for all the learning. Maybe I put a pause here. Let's do some questioning on the floor before I go into some. This is more on some Google Cloud specific stuff, which I'm going to share. But maybe we will go to that one. Any question on the floor? Maybe we can take some before I move to that one, because all the information just now is pretty educative and for education purpose. Yeah. Maybe Wong, you want to help to check with the floor? Maybe we take for 1 minute and then we go for
Yes. Thank you so much, Aaron. Yeah. From the floor, is there any questions anyone would like to ask? Some questions to Aaron. Maybe who, what, where, when, why, how. On what Aaron has shared just now. So you can either type it on in the chat box, or in a Slido, or raise your hand. Then switch on your mic to voice out also can. Anyone? Don't be shy. Let me just quickly check also on Slido.
Yeah, can't wait to check, because I cannot really see. Maybe
Correct.
Kathy or yourself can help to check. Any
Yeah.
related questions, since we're halfway, right? So I mean, actually not halfway, as
Okay.
40%. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No problem. No problem. Okay, Frank has a question. Yeah. Frank raised his hand. Would you like to unmute and then what's your questions to Aaron?
Let's do that.
Frank?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much,
Hi,
Wong.
Frank.
Hi, Aaron. Hi. Good
Hi.
session. Thank you so much. A lot of insights. I have a question. Personally, we are at this moment, our whole applications are computing on AWS. Right? And you spoke about the hybrid. How does that work if, for instance, we have a client that has an application in Google?
Okay.
I'm more or less, I listened to my technical team, their explanation.
Right.
And so I would like to hear your expertise. How would that work?
So if you have a client on Google Cloud, you are using AWS. I think the next question is, the easy answer is actually, is your app code to very AWS way, or it's actually very open. So if we're using a common language like JavaScript, Node.js, all those, I think it works on all the cloud actually today.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter. So that's why I say that when you choose the cloud, or even you choose your language of development, or you want to modernize, or you want to do your next version, consider using the open source or open standard, because all the cloud provider today are embracing that. So for example,
okay, that's interesting.
For example, just to give you an example, if you all heard about containerization, actually Node.js, Python, Go all can run on containerization. And in fact, container actually in Google we call Kubernetes, which I'm going to share shortly later. But again, it's an open standard. Actually today, if you run on Google, AWS, they call it Docker. So it's the same in Google, we call it Google Kubernetes. So if you code it in that way, you move it to Google Cloud, it can work exactly the same way. So that's why I'm saying that you code one time, you can go into multiple platforms. And Azure also have its own Dockerized, they call it Dockerized container engine as well. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Just to share with everybody else, the actual technical question this client asked is, they have built a separate system specifically for their accounting and their warehousing.
Right.
And from a security point of view, they don't want to connect to another cloud. They want to stay within the Google Cloud. So they, I mean, they believe totally in Google. I'm a Google guy too. I can understand their concerns. They are afraid that their data or their system somehow would appear somewhere else. You understand?
Right.
So it's okay.
So in that way, actually, you could set up a so-called hybrid multi-cloud model with them. Definitely. I mean, I don't know who is your client. I can advise you that. Maybe not now. Maybe you can leave a message. I can maybe give you more insight how to do it. We done it before. Again, I tell you, we are behind the scene doing 400 major application for AirAsia as a customers. They actually have multi-cloud. They actually running on Ali Cloud, Azure, Oracle Cloud, all that. So and then the major 60% of the workload today, AirAsia are running on Google Cloud. So, but we connect to AWS as well. But it depends on the language you use, what you want to connect, and also, what kind of data I want to share. So we can set up some parameters to do that as well, for sure.
Yeah, in principle, all the languages that we use are pretty common. So that
yes.
I mean, that's a clear choice that you have to make. I mean, of course, if you have been starting to develop maybe 6 or 8 years ago, you might run yourself into problems.
Correct.
From that perspective. But good. Thank you very much, Aaron. Thanks.
Okay, let's do that. Thank you, Frank. I think we will take more questions. After this, let me continue. I want to finish up so you all can ask more questions. So I can hope to finish in the next 15 minutes. So just a very quick one. This is more specific to Google Cloud because we are Matrix, a Google Cloud Premium Partner. In fact, in Southeast Asia, and also especially we are home-based Malaysia. We are one of the top partner in Malaysia. So we basically, what is Google Cloud about? Actually, I just want to share some key thing what we are differentiate. So I think this is something I just now highlighted, but just to show the stack of infra as a service, platform as a service, and infra as a service. So you have been using Gmail, the Google Meet, all that Drive, actually you're using one of the SaaS. It's running on Google Cloud. And if your customer, just now Frank, I mentioned, right, your customer could be running on their own infra or platform as a service as well. I don't know what component here. Today we have like AWS, like Azure, Google, we have all these what we call one services. We have today, each of us have at least 250 to 300 different services. But definitely you don't use all, you will have typically 5 to 6 different services you're using for your project or your application. Okay, so let me move to the next one. Again, this is some reiterate of just now I say the physical, remember the VM era, the virtual. So I think now we are at this, whether Google, AWS, we're at the third wave right now. So I think this is just to show another perspective of how Google mapping their cloud transformation era to support the cloud transformation era for businesses, right? To help you to do more automation and better manageability. Okay, and I think a lot of people. So what is Google Cloud about? Actually, it's powered by all this. So I believe all this logo. Any of this room, I believe, if I ask you to raise a hand, most of you to raise a hand, we use at least 2 to 3 of these applications from Google Maps, Chrome, Play Store, all this. So all this Google product is billion user for sure today. We talk about number of billions, not only a billion. And we are powering that our cloud, actually the basically the Google Cloud platform are actually powering all this, which the customer, whoever using Google Cloud to run your own application are similarly running on the same infrastructure and technology stack that running their Google own app as well today. Okay, so and how they are different. This is a Google Workspace, app today. So Google Workspace is one of the most popular app that most customers use. We're paid and free user. And this 3+ billion actually is just a paid user. It's not a free. We haven't counted the free one. So free one is today about 7. I think because individual account is almost double this, but we have today paid user, which is from enterprise, is about 3 billion user today. And everything is cloud native in Google. That's why we can run so lean. It basically built from ground up natively. We are not traditional. So you build on top of the traditional application layer. And today, 5,000+ applications are fully connected. Many of your applications maybe have certain API connected, like Zero Accounting, Box, Trello, Salesforce, are connected with the Google Cloud API as well. So we are open API support. And the third one, we are open world. So basically, if you embrace that, there's continued, open cloud model that Google are embracing and empowering. Okay, behind the scene, what is it about? If you see the video, if you joined early today, I actually play one video where why are we different? The other thing Google Cloud different is from cheap server all the way to the physical data center. From what we call bottom stack to top up is purposely built. That's why our infrastructure is what we call state of art. In that we are the most top technology. We are not renting server from or buying server from HP, whatever. Google built their own. Not like AWS, not like Ali, they are buying server for EMC or storage for EMC. So Google, every single part is built by Tencel. And because of that, they can provide the unprecedented defense of security. In fact, we are the most secure cloud in the world, actually. And in terms of scale, maybe we are very comparable with AWS Azure today, but we'll tell you they have a lot of presence. But the key part is the Google global network. If you all realize all this fiber across the world is owned by Google. They don't or they will co-invest with Facebook or maybe NTT. But most of this fiber, I can say 90% or even 95% are owned by Google, maintained by them, owned by them. And basically, we have the lowest latency connection. So if you haven't tried Google Cloud before, your app is running on, even in Malaysia or Singapore, our nearest point, you are connecting to US, another instance, actually, you basically connect like a local network. So because the Google global network is about, internal network is about 4 times the internet speed we are serving today. So assuming you are serving at 1 gigabit, when you are in Google Cloud, or interconnectivity within Google Cloud is about 4 gigabit you can get at any one time. Yeah. Okay. So, and definitely I think the other one, if you have been using Google Search, how can Google Search provide you after the third letter you type in the Google, start to give you all the guest result within less than, we call it 3 seconds, because of all this infrastructure we are powering. And the similar infrastructure, if you come to Google Cloud to run an application on businesses, for a business, you have embraced the similar technology behind the scene. Yeah. Okay. The other good, I like to highlight this is a lot of people didn't know you are using cloud, but how much server are burning fossil fuel? Are they paying all that? So Google since this is one of the what we call the green initiative Google have. This one always I like to share, but I think this is most updated one. They have been carbon neutral since 2007, but no one doing it. In fact, we are the leader in that. We are the cleanest cloud in the world. If you go and do IDC report, the environmental data center report, actually we are the top buyer of renewable energy in the Google Cloud platform. And also, I think many companies, even Microsoft, embrace the same thing, but Google have been doing 15 years. So definitely we are target to do carbon neutral free by 2023. So I think a lot of people say, how can I help the world get greener, but yet I need more resources? So I think a lot of us cannot do it in a big way because even there's a UN, sustainability, a lot of pillars want to do it, but I think the world is getting more crowded. The resource is more hungrier than before. But how do you do it with that? So Google have a very big mission. When every customer run their instance, we even give you a carbon footprint report. In fact, only Google have that carbon footprint report published to you each time you run a server or services on Google Cloud. Yeah. So you want to know more? Click this link later on. I will share this link later. Some security, I just want to highlight some security. If you also in the video I played just now, there's a 6-layer security. You've seen that how Google data center been protected. So all these 6-level security component being very strictly, and I think in the video in the beginning, if you haven't seen that later, I will share that video link with you all. Basically is to saying that very limited, even like less than 2% of a Google employee actually allowed to go into the data center. So they really treat all the information that you store with them is the most important one to protect that. That's what how high and sought after security defense I have in Google. This is a chip that Google developed for basically to protect their own equipment. That's why it's a ground up thing. And this one is going to every single server running on it. Okay, the other part of it is encryption by default. We are also industry leading. Many cloud providers saying that you could turn on encryption if you want it to be, but in Google, once you come to Google Cloud, you must turn on encryption by default. In fact, we're doing it very seamlessly to you, very simple for customer. But the most important part, the customer, more advanced customer can bring your own key. That means you own the key, Google don't own that. That means Google don't manage your key. So you have a choice to manage your own key if you want to. So no one, even Google can't block that. And you see on the right side, bottom right here, the chart here is showing how Google do the encryption key. When you talk about, so assuming this, I think everyone have a Gmail here or Google account here, right? So when you log in your Gmail, this is exactly when you submit your password in. It's actually, this is a password key. What it does is actually break into chunk and sub-chunk and then go across different world to split all this, store across different data center across the world in their server. So it's about 4-step encryption. In order for you to do decryption or someone to hack, you need to get all the information from various location and put it together and decrypt it backwards to do reverse engineering. And to do that, I think the technology today still cannot do it, but the quantum computing could break this now. But definitely Google also and the verge of doing quantum computing level. So they're building this, even the building block for quantum computing, just to share in turn. So this is a level of encryption that also quite sought after, unprecedented compared to many other cloud providers. I mean, there's a lot of attacks there. So I think this is good to highlight that if your data, your customer data is so important, are you put in the right place to make sure that they are protected and you are also protected because of the reputation. Yeah. Okay. So in a nutshell, it's a cloud native. Basically, Google considered cloud native, and our approach is trust nothing. So that's why we trust nothing, zero trust. Basically, we enable every customer. Basically, these services, zero trust or beyond COP approach means we enable every services within the Google Cloud at core to ensure that every customer trusts nothing whenever you log in, and you need to verify, when you want to use the services, you need to verify the right authentication before you can use that. So that's what exactly how Google Cloud Security on a software level they are doing it. Yeah, and if you are running on Google Cloud, they say this is given. You have that in place already. And the last thing is we 24/7 we detect and we protect and we defend as well, definitely, and respond to detect everything and protect everyone to make sure that the threat and security and every day is growing, more threat coming, new threat coming, and how do we defend and protect everyone, right, for now and the future. Okay. So, and there's some paper on this one. Definitely, I just walked you through what is the thing. Compliance paper, I think this one with many other cloud provider, we have the similar ISO, SOC, SOC, and GDPR, HIPAA, PCI DSS certifications for audit if you have that. So I think the final one, I think this is a break some myth, especially on Google Cloud. We are not about Google advertisement business, Google Cloud. Google Cloud customers, we do not collect no ads, collect data, scan, or use your data in any Google Workspace or Google Cloud services for advertising purpose. So this is a clear statement. When you sign when you come to Google Cloud, there's one of the term and condition page. Actually, Google actually make sure this is something. If they really do that, you can take them to the court. So this is something you can entrust them with your data put in their cloud, and with all the security, technology, encryption put in place, you in control of what your data when you put it there. Okay, so the last one, a very quick one. Just to close the thing, I know I have another 5 minutes to go. So hybrid cloud, basically hybrid cloud is, so Google also have Google Workspace. If you have been using Office 365, other productivity suite, I think it's good to going through some of this, just a quick one, how we enable that. In fact, we are the pioneering of, before even Microsoft 365 came out, Google have been doing since day one. So we are embracing this actually fundamentally. So this is Google Fast Fact, right? So this is not for the app, more for the work environment. So in the IMA study recently, this is a report link you can download. Work is no longer a place to go, and basically, it's a thing, but it's more of the thing to do. So the future of hybrid cloud is a choice rather than a necessity. So this is how the report, the extraction comes from the report, that you can see the frontliners still have to go from office, but eventually a lot of company realize that actually maybe 40% of workforce have to do this, and now 60% they can do this, and they are looking into how to democratize their physical space office to save costs or even optimize it for other usage. And hybrid working and schedule hour of rotation, I think it become a norm for many businesses, not in Malaysia, but many big and small, and many businesses across the world as well. Okay, and another good one is remote working is not just unavoidable, but also need to be sustainable. So because this report is mainly for, because a lot of us, especially last 2 years, travel less. Actually, the world get greener. Actually, there's a report about that, because the car on the road is less, and they're forecasting now. This is actually December last year. If you look at and then they forecast in the next 12 months until middle of this year, what it's going to look like. So I think this is what the forecast of the work from home will still be staying there, but maybe the ratio will mix. People will go back to office a bit more, but still with the working and mix with the work from home. Yeah. But so I think just to touch base, Google Workspace enable all this, whether it doesn't matter where you work, where you do the thing. So basically, we enable everything you need to do, get work done in one place. Okay. So I think I just run through. I think most of you have come through this product before. I just quickly run through some of the key points here. It's purely native based on the cloud. Basically, nothing to manage, nothing to install. As long as you have a PC, and work on any device, anytime, from mobile, iPad to PC or laptop or Windows, Mac as well. It's very simple to use, very, very collaborative. So if you look at whole presentation as I do right now, this presentation actually is on Google Slides. So you don't realize actually it's a web-based application. So this whole a presentation session, I mean, my own slide actually running always on Google. I don't use PowerPoint actually. So this is a really way to work with my colleagues also over the years. We craft the deck together. But the session here, I'm not going to show you what is all this, but if you don't know, I think you use some of this, but this is a product suite that we have. If you look into that, please drop a message. We can let you know how to enable you to do your hybrid work using Google Workspace, or want to move from other platform to here. We're more than happy to help you. Yeah. Okay, so some statistic here. Those customers who have used Google Workspace, that 3 billion user or thousands of customers, this is a report from Forbes, basically comparing to other productivity suite. We have higher retention in terms of that. If you adopt this, we have better profitability growth. Actually, there's also some comparison there. There's some link here if you look at it, all this. And then the tomorrow workforce, actually, as I say that, I think most of us, including myself, those who were born in the 70s, 80s, or even early 90s, we have been using Microsoft. But if you talk to millennials today, or all the Gen Z today, they have been using Google. Actually, you're surprised how they use Google Workspace in their daily learning. And today we are powering also billion of education, not only in Malaysia, million of education user in Malaysia as well across the world, especially the young one. When they came out, it's just not Microsoft Office, but they actually have a preference of using Google Workspace. There's a survey to do that as well, right? So some numbers here, how much you can save per year to do the productivity and ROI as well. Okay, so I think last but not least, why people move to Google Workspace. Recently, just to share, we have a government agency nationwide, basically about 100,000 move to Google Workspace. One of the reasons is this, they have had a lot of spam, a lot of attacks in their email system, they cannot receive it. We actually managed to do this. So this is not only the Google technology, but we are #1 in that and accuracy in blocking those stuff. So because there's an AI behind the scene, that Google own AI to catch all those phishing ransomware. Yeah. Okay. So we block almost 99.99%. So all this is actually not from Google, for all come from various reports. So you can see the link there. We just share to you that if we have any ransomware attack for the past 12 months or even past 3 months, if you look into get up from the headache, just come to talk to us. We can help you with that, especially in your Word document or in your on all your productivity collaboration or email communication. Session like this being fully recorded. I believe that everyone know the hoo-ha when the Zoom everyone have last year say someone have been hacked. So yeah, so but definitely now they have patched up the Zoom session like this, they have patched it up. So, but in Google, everything is encrypted since day one. So by default, as I say, just to emphasize what technology being used into the apps as well by Google as well. Okay, so we encrypt end to end from the play. You start whether your Gmail on your Chrome, you fire up. Whenever you transfer that on the internet, open internet, until you arrive at Google data center or Google application, everything is being encrypted end to end. So as long as within the session, even this whole session, when I present to you, within this slide is actually fully protected unless you have the password or the access I share with you to come in. Yeah. Okay, so that's all. And I think just some recap of who Matrix is. And then to close that, I know I want to give time for the floor. So Matrix, again, I come from Sean, this is our CEO, also the co-founder. And basically, he started a business team so we are not new. We have been coming 14 years in the market. We are the premier partner in Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand. We are part of, certified for ASP, MSC, basic company as well. And we associate with people like MPA, Credo, Picon, MDEC to do transformation, especially on the Google Cloud perspective. If you look at any of these workspace, enterprise, education, government, for Chrome, for any GCP related, yeah. So we are the one you can talk to, and we can help you with that. Why Matrix also? We have about today's certification of this. Google Matrix actually have about 30 plus staff today, but we have about 60 plus certification of this, and most of our engineers have minimum two up to 3 at least. Certification from everything from Google Workspace to Google Cloud to data to network to security. You could talk to us. So we are professionally trained. We are the consultant and also the engineers and expertise in the area that we do. Definitely, there's some other brand we do as well, like Vim, all that. These are the product that we actually partner with them to run the hybrid workload between Google Cloud and on-prem as well. Yeah. Okay, so we provide consultation, deployment, training, and support, right? So yeah. So what we help, I think this value proposition for us, we definitely help you to do cost optimization. Like let's say, Frank, if your customer yourself want to do optimization of not only on the cost on the platform, within multi-platform, you come to us. Certain integration automation, if you require, can talk to us as well. This whole session, we talk about transformation. So whether from security, from technology, from processes and workflow, or even hybrid work, just that. So we actually enable all this transformative, and definitely we are very service centric company. We are very service centric, so we want to make sure that we are very customer focused to serve. So today we are serving about 300 to about coming to 500, 300 plus mid-market to enterprise customer, and with all the smaller ones, it's about 500 plus, which is the startup and small SMB 1-2 user company. So we have that 500 plus customer in Malaysia itself today. Okay, so so this is some of the journey we do. So I just don't want to repeat this anymore. So if you look at any of this workload, come to talk to us, including infra modernization and 4 pillars of our solution. So we do solutioning on top of Google Cloud, of your hybrid cloud or multi-cloud. If you're using AWS, we can do some of this together with you. But definitely, if you don't have preferred cloud, we will do most of the workload on GCP. So from security, virtual desktop infrastructure, backup, and disaster recovery. Big data is a pillar of this, or data engineering, we call it, to build a data warehouse and pipeline, and to help you to automate those. And definitely the Chrome, because we are the Google Chrome enterprise partner. Yeah. Right. So I think this is another perspective of how we do it. So I think to close the case, there's some training. I want to pass this to the floor. This sound the logo, maybe you can have a look. So I just want to flag out the key one. You can see that these are the key logo here, big and small. And I think the largest one actually is this 2 I want to highlight is MOE Malaysia. If you have any of your kids are using in public school, primary or secondary school, today we are powering that digital learning. So we behind the scene matrix are the implementer and the basically the support behind the scene to power for 5.2 million and 10,000 schools in Malaysia for Google Workspace, Google Classroom, and their data being analyzed by the ministry on Google Cloud platform itself. So, and the other one I would like to share, this is really a game changer. November or December last year, which is actually 2 months ago, Mampu, which is a government IT agency which manage about 400 different agencies across Malaysia with 500,000 user base, moving to Google Workspace and eventually also Google Cloud as well. And yeah, we have enabled and empowered the government to basically do that. So if you today go to, we're still doing the project. This is about 6-month project. So we have been ramping this. So you can see a lot of changes happening. If you start to receive some email from government sector.gov, whatever, actually it's come from Google today. Yeah. All right. And AirAsia, one of the largest corporate that we served 3 years ago. They're still one of the largest enterprise customers we have today. But yeah, never COVID hit them. But again, they are the model that many enterprises are look forward to be a data first in the business. Yeah. So yeah, that's all. Maybe I pass back to you.
Yes, Aaron. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Aaron. Yeah, for your insightful sharing. So now we learn more about Google, what is behind Google, the product and services that Google provide, as well as the carbon zero and also carbon neutral things that is behind, and also the encryption behind Google. I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
So I'd like to pass this to the floor. If anyone has any questions, either it's on the multi-cloud or on the Google products and services, anyone like to put up your hand or drop that in the chat box?
Do you want me to open the Slido?
Yeah, I'm looking at Slido now also.
Anyone put,
nothing much.
Nothing much. Okay.
Yeah.
Then
yeah. While waiting, I have a question actually. So taking this question from what Frank mentioned just now, where he might have this need because there's a requirement from the client where they have a different working on different cloud. How about for us as a startup or a company who is building a product, right? So what would encourage or entice us to use multi-cloud? I would think that then you have to manage different cloud services, infrastructures, or maybe the risk of all this. So what's the benefit of using multi-cloud for someone developing a product or solution, for example?
So I think there is no straight answer to you, but the more direct, to your question one, when you start your app, actually at the development stage, normally I don't advise you to go multi-cloud, hybrid cloud, but you should choose the cloud that you want to start with. And based on just now I mentioned, right, the criteria of that, and I want to see this slide here. And based on these needs you look for the next, let's say, 2 years? Because for a startup, typically a lot of people start on AWS, all right, and then maybe or Azure, but it depends on developer as well. Because at the end of the day, if the developer are not familiar with, let me show back this one, right, this slide, right. So you go back to the developer, you have in order to, let me see. Can you see this? Right? You can see, right? So in order to decide what kind of cloud you should be embracing, and the language they use also. So, but my advice in general is always look into one of the area is called the open cloud platform, which is make sure that the cloud provide you that the openness basically. So when you program it, so you, by the time, let's say when we have customer actually startup as well. I think if you all know Niren is actually motherhood, or even one of the startup in Cradle. He's actually the founder actually is my close friend. They actually started with AWS, and eventually I think their contract AWS almost 2 years finished. And the beauty part is they actually program from traditional way in .NET, and I think they changed the code to more open platform eventually, become using the Node.js eventually. Then they start to embrace the open cloud. Then they can easily port some data from AWS actually to Google to run some workload, and as well as the Azure, like the Azure, they're still running some back to Azure to do some Microsoft centric solution. So there's no one else to all, but you really need to like understand your need, and then maybe we can help you with that. You talk to us, and then we actually have a set of questionnaire table. You can fill that, then it can help you to do that. So definitely we will advise you where to start. For example, what kind of database you should use, what is a typical framework we can, before you start to adopt any of this cloud. Yeah.
Thank you. That's great. That's great.
Right.
So, okay, we still have a few minutes on the Q&A session. So, anyone from the floor would like to has any questions for Aaron?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions for anyone? And also, Aaron, since you are providing a consultancy service and also helping us, especially our members in MPA, do you mind that to drop down your contact number here in the chat box, so that anyone comes up with a question, they can always approach you?
Yeah. So I have one more
seek
page.
your.
Yeah. Maybe let me show that again. I have actually one more page I was supposed to share. So if no question, maybe just to wrap up, because I know it's late already. So everyone maybe want to
In fact,
I have a form, maybe need your help to fill, and then I leave my message also. So let me show
no
that.
problem, no problem. Yeah, in fact, Frank is having his hands up also. Frank,
Yeah.
you'd like to ask Aaron some questions? Frank, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much, Wong. Aaron, one more question for you. Of course, there are many different clouds to choose from. Okay. Then looking at mobile, for instance, I mean, iOS and Android are the two biggest one. And of course, most of us are building mobile applications. So Google is Android, or Android is Google, right?
Yeah.
So what from if how shall I announce this question? Because there is so much choice, and you have clearly with your company made a very clear choice to vend Google. Can you give us the one or maybe three decisions we have to think about or make when we choose for a company like Google, AWS, or any of the others? And maybe another part of the question is, why would we choose Google? Why is Google on top of their game?
Okay, so I think when it comes to that, I think got two. I mean, I hear you. Which to choose from, how to choose, and why Google, right? I think there's more specific question, right? So I think AWS is great. A lot of people use AWS, but I think over the time is when you actually there's a few factor people start looking at. When you started, I think AWS typically like to entice startup and give you a lot of free funding. This is exactly what my friend, this is the right Niren. Then after 2 years or 3 years, the funding run out, you actually have to pay. So but the lucky part of it is this is the real things, because they can grow. They grown from 10 employees to actually today about 80 of them. Yeah, and you know the costs are going up. And when it comes to a stage that you are more mature, you're no longer a normal startup. They're having Series C and whatever already. The cost of running on the cloud is no longer, they are not optimized because when they started, they, you know, a lot of app developer or even startup, they will just run it because it's still small, and you don't tweak it your environment for that to do scaling and to do very optimized scaling. So a lot of people know how to run on the cloud, but how to run it optimized way and very cost effectively, that's a challenge, especially when you grow. So the thing is, if you already started, let's say on AWS, you haven't started or you have started already, then you could consider running Google Cloud to do a cost comparison when it comes to a point that you want to do scaling. And that is a part that the commodity will come, because all the cloud today are commodity. The second part of it is some of these cloud provider, especially they want to run data, but they have the program very proprietary. Actually, AWS have its all called, I still remember that their own data, what we call that, the services of the big data warehouse is pretty expensive to run after you program it, and then they're locked to there. So we have custom move that out and come to Google, because Google, in terms of not only the cost, in terms of performance, in terms of the security, in terms of that, we are actually much better. So that is what customers tell us. So normally we don't tell customers that if you're running on one cloud already, we don't just swing you easily, because you need to have some pain or challenge. But if you haven't started, it's good to look into drawing board, just now all the pillars that just now I mentioned, and good to, you know, look into that, or you are starting a new apps and then can start a pilot one. And the beauty of all this cloud today is basically democratized or equalized for you to basically can start very small and then try that. And if you need help, we can do advisory for you. Typically startup, we also have startup program, but we not, to be frank, Google not as strong startup program as AWS. This is what AWS and Ali do. But when you grow to a certain stage, or you need to embrace certain technology, you can run your VM still there, but you want to do data analytics, that's where Google will come in. So a lot of people start to have the hybrid cloud happening, and we have those neurons used to have data running us. Eventually say that, well, my cost overruns so much, because initially they run it very traditionally on AWS. They didn't optimize that. So when it comes to us, they get the consultancy from Matrix as well. We help them actually to full re-architect for them for future growth and scaling. So it depends on which stage of maturity. Just now I mentioned in the slide. So if you are in a different stage, then you want to consider differently, or you have already started certain cloud. So I think this is something that you need to look into if you really want to embrace the which cloud to go for. If you haven't started, it's a green field, then we are more than welcome to help you, and then you can test it out, because it's very very cheap to start. But if you have done, then this is where you should be looking at. Yeah, which stage are you right now? In order for me, I think we use this scale actually to help you actually. Yeah.
We're in the scaling stage.
Yeah. So many businesses, you come from different stages, right? So you need to see which are you right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I have Kuong, can I have time for one more question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Sure, go ahead.
Aaron, you tipped on something else, the funding part. I think many of the cloud companies, specifically in the beginning, they give a few credits in the beginning,
right,
a couple of $100, couple of $1,000, depending on your plans and ideas, which is all great. But in the end, it's peanuts to them compared to overall monthly cost or overhead.
Correct. Yes.
So we understand why they do it. Now, some of the
that's a reality, right? They sitting you for after the free period, they become paying more, right?
Well, I mean, that's a model that most of us see as a very successful way of operation now.
Yeah. It is.
But one other question is some of the other apart from Google, so I'm not too aware of Google, some of the other cloud providers, they actually have attracted VCs and some other funding companies to their program. And they say, look, we're sitting on this amazing source of new applications hosted on our clouds. Come and have a look at them. And they actually do matchmaking. Does Google have some similar services?
Actually, so I think I hear what you say, like Gobi partner with AWS. So I think, to be frank, to do matchmaking, that is something Google not strong in. And that is what I can tell you that. So normally we only will be able to to attract most of the customer already past the first 2 or 3 series of their startup, because they're no longer getting funding from VC, whatever. They have to self-fund it, or they will have the limited fund that they still have to pay, because even you come to a certain stage, this AWS, whoever, not going to give you more fund, because unless the VC give you that. Yes, but the cost of running it really become a pain point for that. So that's why we normally don't capture startup in the beginning, which is AWS way to do it. But there's some inside me always say that AWS want to do this because they want to also sniff out which is the next startup they want to buy to become their next anchor. That's why they provide that. But Google actually do that, but not as strong as that. So personally, I think if I know that Ali and AWS work very strongly with the startup like Cradle to provide even those funding. I think that's where a lot of people start with AWS. Even I have a friend always start with that. A number of the app started with that. But in terms of when it comes to a certain level, yes, then because there's something in business we cannot offer directly, because in Google Malaysia, this is the part we're not very strong. I can very honest to tell you that. Yeah. Okay. We know about that. We feedback to them. But I think for Google, to them, they don't want to fight in the same space because they are not trained the token. So they rather spend in education, they spend in different sector. And I think it's a different different kind of priority. But definitely you can search. There's a Google Cloud Spark program for startup. We actually help customer. Okay, for example, one of the customer called Dexy, actually we managed to get some funding for them in, I think not, when is that? Let me see. I think we get the funding for them. Correct. Service, now become part of AirAsia, right? Actually, so yeah, they actually acquired by AirAsia, right? So they actually, as a startup, it's Google funded startup actually. Yeah. So and then Versa also is Google funded startup as well. So these two are Google funded. But it compare a number of logos, maybe AWS have 50, maybe we have less than 10, for example, because Google fund is not so many, and they're very selective on which one they want to fund. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. Okay. But I think you understand. Keep your maybe keep your contact with us. Maybe help to feel that. Let's keep in touch. You can call me if you need any call. You come back. You are the one in Thailand, right? Is it the stuff, Frank? Is it?
Yeah, yes, correct.
If you're there, you want to do call, whatever, let us know, and maybe keep my contact there. This is our contact. Leave your message, so maybe we can exchange the information more offline, basically. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, Frank and Aaron. So yeah, Aaron, Frank's email is actually in the chat box, so you can take down his email contact there. So Aaron, if you can go back one screen flash your contact screen so that we all can capture that as well.
Yeah.
So yes, ladies and gentlemen, so we have come to the end for today's informative and fruitful sessions. One again, the MPA Tech Talk. So if you'd like to find out more about smarter, open, better connection and also protection cloud services, please contact MPA or contact Aaron directly lah. So as you can see from the screen, this is his contact. So so before we close, I got just one last announcement. Okay, to care for our products and clients, we put in extra effort to make sure that we harden the server. Yet some days we encounter someone hacking into the server, right? We wonder why did it fail and how can we prevent it from happening. Wonder no more. Look out for our next Tech Talk scheduled on Saturday, 19th of February 2022 at 2 p.m. to hear from our expert, Mr. Hon Foon Ping, the founder and CEO of NetAxis. Okay, so with that, I shall close today's event. And thank you so much, everyone, for spending your Saturday afternoon with us. Right? Thank you and have a nice day. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron. Great session.
Thank you.
Thank you.